Hey, what's up? Salim Fahmy with you here, and this is all you need to know about today's Samsung event. First off, let me start by saying I woke up at 4:30 a.m. thinking that the event would be at 5 a.m. Turns out it was held at 5 p.m. Egyptian timing. The event took about 1 hour for a live stream, so you won't need to watch all of that. A breakdown video will go through all what happened through the event. And if you like this and find it informative, please hit that like and subscribe button for all things related tech. Samsung unveiled 3 new S22 phones. These represent their new flagship lineup, these phones being the S22, S22 Plus, and the S22 Ultra. To be realistic, the S22 and the S22 Plus are the phones meant for the masses. However, this is only a slight spec bump, nothing special. They really didn't change much. They used the same successful formula that worked and customers are accustomed to. The first thing you can tell off the bat is the build quality. But this may not be too big of a deal for you, as the most people just rock a case on their phones. This features a more boxy build. It seems to be more squared off and flat. They stuck to the flat display on the front instead of the OG curved displays. The back happens to have Gorilla Glass this year instead of the weird material they used last year. Everything else seems to be the same design, so the outside hasn't changed much overall. It still got the camera bump there. In terms of the display, it got a slight upgrade from last year. They still offer them in 2 different sizes, that being the 6.1 inch display for the S22 and the 6.6 inch display for the S22 Plus. However, the bezels seem to be smaller, as the S22 is looking to be on a more compact side of phones. This is not to say that it is a small phone necessarily. This year, they added a much higher variable refresh rate than last year. So instead of the usual 60 and 120 Hz, it now can go between 10 and all the way up to 120 Hz. This might not be a big deal for most people, but it can surely save a lot of battery life. I couldn't seem to figure out if the screen is an LTPO display on the S22 and S22 Plus versions. It seems to be only available in the S22 Ultra. So that is basically all that changed in terms of hardware. Inside, you can still find the latest and greatest for Snapdragon, that being the Snapdragon H Gen 1, or in limited region, a 4nm Exynos chip. Both the S22 and the S22 Plus max out at 8GB of RAM with either 128GB of storage or 256GB of storage. This seems to be a little outdated in the case of Samsung. I expected the baseline to be 256GB of storage and go up all the way to maybe 1TB of storage. In the back, you can find the new upgraded camera system, featuring a 50MP main camera, a ultra-wide, and a 3x telephoto camera. So it seems that Samsung are pretty hesitant when it comes to adding their 10x optical zoom to the S22 and the S22 Plus. However, this can be found on the S22, S21, and S20 Ultra. The killer difference this year is that the main camera is now set to the 50MP wide lens instead of the telephoto lens that we got last year. So now when shooting 8K, you don't need to crop in and use the telephoto lens. You can just use the sharper wide lens. Sadly, the batteries have gotten a bit smaller. This is due to the smaller form factor. The S22 Plus went from 4800mAh to 4500mAh, and the regular S22 went from 4000mAh to 3700mAh. It isn't too clear if that means you're getting shorter battery life on a daily basis, but due to the variable refresh rate, you might still expect the same daily performance in terms of battery. The downgrade is really interesting. I don't know why Samsung took a decision like this. Maybe it's because the glass is thicker than last year, so that means you have less storage for the battery. But you might ask yourself, what is the difference between the S22 and the S22 Plus? First, it is definitely the size. The S22 comes in a 6.1 inch display and the S22 Plus has a 6.6 inch display. However, they both have the same AMOLED display with the same pixel density. The S22 Plus supports 45 watt charging, while the S22 supports only 25 watt charging. But the box doesn't come with a charger, so you'd have to go out of your way to buy one. This is unfortunate, but harsh reality nowadays. The slight battery difference is also another spec difference. The Plus has a 4500mAh battery, while the regular has a 3700mAh battery. But the main difference between these two phones has to be the price. The S22 starts at $799 and the S22 Plus starts at $999. You can expect to pick it up in several different colors, including Phantom Black, Phantom White, Burgundy, Green, and Pink Gold. Not all colors are available for all models, and of course there are many carrier exclusives and regional differences. I just think you should go for the S22 because you're saving $200 on basically the same phone. I don't think you'd be able to tell the difference between them. Now, onto the big boy, the Samsung Galaxy S22 Ultra. So, unfortunately, Samsung have unofficially killed off its Note line by announcing this S22 Ultra. So this phone has basically the same design as last year with a more bland touch to it. You can just see what I mean. The S22 Ultra has a new back chassis design. It has a flat design with a protruding camera bumps. This design seems to remind me of the old Note line phones as well. It also has the boxed out design that resembles its siblings of the S22 line. The design was rumored for months and sadly it is real. Of course, you can expect the same creme de la creme specs for this phone. It has the usual IP68 rating and this all new Gorilla Glass that can only be found on the S22 line. I still love the matte back finish on the back. For some reason, Samsung is just keeping it for its Ultra models. I would love to see it in the other S22 lineup. I personally believe that this bland design is a slight downgrade, but if you're like the usual, you'd probably just rock a case. But it is still considered a top of the line display. I think people take it for granted how good Samsung's display have been recently. We have just set the expectation high enough for them. This display is a corner to corner display with a 6-inch size with 144p resolution and 120Hz refresh rate, and it comes with the LTPO2 display. So the refresh rate can go all the way down to 1 Hz, which is insane. This would make sure to save a ton of battery life when a high refresh rate is not needed. Now this year, you can turn on 1440p resolution while reaching 120Hz, unlike last year where you had to pick and choose between both. It still has the in-screen fingerprint reader in the same place, of course with the ultrasonic reader. The camera cutout is still dead in the middle, so they didn't go for an under the display type camera, which was rumored for months. I guess we just have to wait next year to see how that would pan out. However, this screen is slightly curved on the sides, which is not what you expect from a Note type device, and what you have all been waiting for, of course, the new S Pen. Realistically, there is nothing new about this. All that Samsung did was give the S Pen a little vacation and bring it back to this phone. This built-in S Pen has a 1.4 millisecond response rate, which is one of the lowest I have ever heard of. All the features that were on the S Pen previously are still there, such as the super low latency. This phone is fitted with the Snapdragon 8 Gen 1 chip and will have the Exynos version in certain regions. For some reason, the baseline version is the only one that has 8GB of RAM, while other models have 12GB of RAM. You can expect to find the S22 Ultra in the baseline version of 128GB or 256GB or 512GB, and lastly 1TB version. That 1TB version is going to be on the pricier side of phones though. The battery will still come in the same 5000 mAh size and supports 45W fast charging. Camera doesn't have that big of a spec bump up as it comes with the same quad camera setup. The main camera, ultra wide, 3x zoom and 10x zoom. But everything seems to be upgraded in the software department as there are new modes that help support the camera in different situations. The phone starts at a price of $1,200 and you can pick it up in phantom black, white, green and burgundy. Samsung also released another product line, that being their S8 tablet series. Samsung is widely regarded as the best Android tablet manufacturer, but with this tablet they seem to be in the conversation for the #1 spot. That has been strictly taken up by Apple for several years now. Samsung took a year off its S tablet series, as the last time that they released an S series tablet was in late 2020. The newcomer of this lineup is the S8 Ultra with a 14.6-inch Super OLED display, which Samsung says is the only one on the market with those specs. This also has a form factor we have never seen before, as tablets aren't usually that big. Apart from the Ultra model, the S8 and the S8 Plus seem to be a simple spec bump up. The body size has stayed the same for the S8 as it comes in an 11-inch LCD display, and the S8 Plus comes in 12.4-inch Super AMOLED display, while both of them have the same 120Hz refresh rate. The S8 and the S8 Plus came equipped with a 12-megapixel front camera, which was previously 8 megapixels from the S7 series, while the S8 Ultra comes with two 12-megapixel selfie cameras, one being an ultra-wide and the other being a regular selfie. They added a new feature to accompany the new ultra-wide lens, which appears similar to Apple's center stage. The S8 and the S8 Plus come with a dual camera rear setup with a 13 megapixel primary and a 6 megapixel wide camera. This is capable of shooting 4K video. I better not see anyone using their tablets as their main camera though. iPad photographers are just awkward. Samsung wanted to ensure a great S Pen experience, so it has better suited software experience, including adding a predictive algorithm. The S Pen has a very little latency and is said to be snappy and quick response. The S Pen can be found rested on the back of all the S8 line. It is connected magnetically where it's able to charge. The S8 Ultra sees the support of Samsung DeX, which turns the tablet basically into a laptop. You can pre-order the S8 Ultra and get a free book cover keyboard. The S8 Ultra comes with a Snapdragon 8 Gen 1 chip with the support of 45-watt charging. The baseline model comes with 8GB of RAM and 128GB of storage. It can be configured up to 16GB of RAM and 512GB of storage, with the option of expandable storage. The S8 comes in the price of $699, $899 for the S8 Plus, and $1,099 for the S8 Ultra. The Samsung event came with a few jabs targeted at Apple. It came also with a few small added features. This includes the new ecosystem features, such as having access to Google Play applications, new Google Assistant, and access to Wear OS on the Samsung Watch 4, seamless watch syncing, having an AirDrop-like experience with Quick Share, and being able to pick up an application where you left off on a phone and get it on a Windows device. Samsung really seemed to be targeting Apple during this event, as they added an extremely similar application such as FaceTime, that being Google Duo. They also added a digital wallet which allows you to carry different type of assets such as crypto, regular cash, ID, flight ticket, and keys. That about wraps up the Samsung event for you. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button and consider hitting that subscribe button. It would really mean a lot to me. Then see you guys all next time. Peace.